Slow global growth could make ordinary people turn against trade and immigration. That's according to the latest World Economic Outlook by the International Monetary Fund. Here are some of the main findings. The fund's held its outlook for global growth stable at 3.1% for 2016 after revising it down over the past 5 quarters. But here's the story behind that. Advanced economies are worse off after the UK's Brexit vote, but that's been balanced out. A brighter look is emerging for emerging economies, where higher consumer spending is expected to boost growth. Well, that's the global picture in brief, but let's just focus on Africa now. The World Bank says economic growth in sub-Saharan region of Africa is expected to fall to its lowest level in more than 20 years. That's largely due to the poor performance of the South African and Nigerian economies. Adefemi Akinsanya reports.
Africa has been one of the world's fastest growing regions. Home to some of the largest resource deposits on the planet, its growth was driven by global demand. But after a drastic drop in oil prices and a slump in commodities in mid-2014, these export-dependent economies are struggling.
This sharp decline in aggregate growth reflects the challenging conditions in 3 of the largest economies in Africa: Nigeria, South Africa, Angola, as these countries are facing strong headwinds from the decline in commodity prices, the tightening of financing conditions, and policy uncertainties at home.
Africa's economic growth has fallen steadily since then, dropping to 3% in 2015. This year, the World Bank predicts its growth will slow to 1.6%, its lowest level in more than 20 years. Africa's 2 largest economies, which account for half of its output, have been the hardest hit. Besides a sluggish mining sector, South Africa is also struggling with high unemployment, student unrest, and government infighting. Nigeria, meanwhile, slipped into recession in the 2nd quarter, highlighting its inability to diversify away from oil.
The quality of export and diversification is more advanced than in other economies. More importantly, these economies do have more effective public institutions. This is critical for making growth happen.
Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Rwanda, on the other hand, are expected to grow by more than 6% this year. That's thanks to increased private sector growth investment and government reforms. But even though those countries are home to 42% of the African population, they only contribute 21% of its economic output. For Africa to regain its lost pace, the World Bank says countries need to adjust to low commodity prices and develop new sources of sustainable income. Adefemi Akinsanya, TRT World.